have been on a campaign to get men to participate in the conversation about periods. I want to say thank you. It's a very brave thing that you're doing. I know it don't feel like it, but trust me, there are still a lot of men who think that periods should still be silent and quiet and hidden from them. They don't want to see it, they don't want to experience it. And to them I say, a babe, period is coming out of the closet.
It was kind of weird because the first time I actually had like a real in-depth like period experience was when I was 24. My mom was like, hey, I really can't go to get pads. Can you do that for me?
Okay.
And I'm in the pharmacy looking at, it seemed like 100 options at the time. And I was just bewildered, like, I don't know what to do. And there was a little bit of embarrassment because I was like, I don't want to ask a store person. And also it kind of felt weird after my mom was just like, get this brand. And then looking at this brand, there's like
several other options.
Clothes and different things. And it's just like,
the information shared on Everyday Period is for educational and informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions or concerns you may have regarding your health or medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on this show. Your health is unique, and only a medical professional can provide personalized guidance. Everyday Period removes the mystery, the stigma, and awkwardness from reproductive health and introduces real empowering conversations to create a greater understanding. Hi, I am your host, Shelly-Ann, and I'll be your guide as we navigate the murky waters of all things reproductive health. We are going to be talking period stories. Of course, you know, I love a good story, but we're going to be talking about periods. And I know you see a man sitting beside me, you're wondering, but Shelly, no period, you say I got to talk about what a man doing here. Men can talk about periods too. They have period stories too. Yes, that don't mean they have periods for the persons with their mind thinking weird things. However, they live in a world where we occupy it. They have women in their lives, and therefore, period affects them too. If you think period don't affect you, you're probably living by yourself in a hole somewhere, stay there. But for the rest of us, period affects us all. So I'm happy to welcome my first man on this set of Everyday Period, my good friend and photographer, Lance Brown. Hi, Lance.
hey. Oh, that was the intro.
Hold on. This is Lance. We're going to let Lance tell you who he is. But before we get into that, I just want to make this connection really quickly. A lot of you are fathers, your brothers, your sons, and you share the world with a woman who you love, whether it's your mother, whether it's your sister, whether it's your child, or maybe it's your coworker. I don't matter. Women are everywhere. And so your understanding of period really benefits you in a lot of ways, but it can also benefit them. And if you can be a great source of support for the women around you because you have a greater understanding of period, just imagine how much great help that would be for those women. And there are a lot of times when you yourself are affected by some negative situation that she's experiencing from her period. You don't just have to take it. There are things that you can do to help her that will help you. So for those of you men who think that there's nothing here for you in this conversation, sir, just have a seat and listen up and watch us prove you wrong. Right, Lance?
True.
Let's normalize the talk, celebrate the experience, and make periods something we're proud to discuss. Welcome to the conversation. I want to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments about the topic, or if you have a question about reproductive health generally, send us an email at embraceherflow@gmail.com. You can also like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Period TV. And just remember, we are here for you. Everyday Period is brought to you by Herflow Foundation, empowering Jamaicans one flow at a time. Everyday Period is an AP1 production. Follow Herflow on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Herflow Foundation. And visit our website at embraceherflow.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. So, before we get into the discussion, let me give you an opportunity to tell the people about you and what's your curiosity where period is concerned.
So, I'm basically 33, so my many years of life, like I've found myself recently dealing with period, and it was kind of weird because the first time I actually had like a real in-depth like period experience was when I was 24. My mom was like, "Hey, I really can't go to get pads. Can you do that for me?"
Okay.
And I'm in the pharmacy looking at, it seemed like 100 options at the time, and I was just bewildered, like I don't know what to do. And there was a little bit of embarrassment because I was like, I don't want to ask a store person, and also it kind of felt weird after my mom is just like, get this brand, and then looking at this brand there's like
Several other options.
flows and different things, and it's just like, I'm a artist, I know production. This is, I don't know what you mean by flow, like
You're overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. And yeah, eventually after wasting like 30 minutes in the pharmacy, I end up mustering the courage to call my mother and be like, yeah, what exactly do you mean? I know you said the brand, but so yeah, you don't want to be in a situation where you're either married to a woman or have a child, and then you're scrambling to figure it out, because that's not a good position to be in that late into the game.
All right.
Me coming on is basically trying to break the stigma that guys should be involved in this as well.
Of course, excellent. And this is a great way to start addressing the stigma by having conversations. So I'm here. You can ask me whatever you need to know. But for full disclosure, Lance is my photographer whenever we go on school tours to her flow. And he hears the conversation with the students. He sees the comments that they make. He hears some of the questions that they ask. So let me just ask you about that. You spend a lot of time in the space where we're teaching students about periods and at different levels. We have been to high schools, we have been to colleges. What have you observed in how they respond to the information, both the girls and the boys in the classroom?
And the adults.
And the adults.
What I've realized, which I always knew that the stigma behind periods were like, oh, not supposed to talk about it is something abhorrent or degrading, but actually being a part of the school tours, I realized something as simple as like disposal, which is disposal, you just throw it in the garbage. Most people are like, oh, the girls and the teachers will be coming up with every convoluted way to say how they're going. They put it in a bag, then they put it in a thick, like non-biodegradable bag, then throw that in the garbage bin. And I'm just like, yeah, so what my question is basically, how do you think we can start like getting rid of the negative stigma around it? Because it's so deep rooted.
About the disposal?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Because it's so deep rooted that it's like we've been to like almost 100 schools since I started partnering with you, and you've done even more than that. And that one question, how do you dispose of it?
yes.
There's never been, we went to colleges, high schools.
Yes.
Never once has one person confidently say, just throw it in the normal garbage bin.
Because I don't think that. Remember, that a lot of persons learn about period starting from a space where period is unclean. If period is unclean, then that means it must be treated special. It must be disposed of in a special way. You have people who find it offensive to go into a garbage can and see the wrapper that the menstrual product comes in, not the product itself, just the wrapper. I've seen persons get upset, have arguments with other people because they went into the bathroom and they disposed of the tampon wrapper in the garbage bin, and they were able to look in the garbage bin and see the tampon wrapper and lost their mind. So our culture says you must hide your period so well, nobody knows you even have one. And I push back on that 100% because I'm like, listen, the jig is up, the secret is out. Women have periods. If you're of a certain age, you're having periods. If you're not pregnant, you're having periods. So whether or not you're comfortable with it, whether or not you think that it is okay to happen, periods are flowing. If you look into a room right now, you look around, there are women in the room having periods right now in the room where you're occupying right now. So that is where I push back and say, this idea that we need to hide our periods is crazy. Nobody dies from knowing that we have periods. We have periods. That's the first part. The second part is when it comes to disposal of periods. Now, there are persons who believe that period blood is the worst possible thing that comes out of the human body. Obviously, I disagree. I mean, human beings are generally a bunch of stinky people walking up and down. So there's a lot of disgusting things that comes out of our body. But I do not think that period blood is the worst of it. Have you seen what babies do unsupervised in their diapers? Like, hello? I'm just saying, we are a bunch of stinky people generally. But as it relates to that conversation about disposal, I have it on purpose because I know that there are people who believe that adding menstrual products in the garbage makes the garbage worse. Let that sink in. We put dead dog in garbage. We find a rat in the underneath our bed somewhere decomposing, we scrape it up, throw it in the garbage. But we do not think that a used menstrual product is good enough to go into the garbage. That's why I push back on it. That's why I have that conversation, because I want us to get over that sort of thinking, because it is just blood. It is coming out of our body as a part of a natural function that we need to happen in order for us to live healthy lives, in order for us to reproduce, in order for us to be, because our period is very important to our overall health. And so that is the reason why I have the conversation, and that's the reason why I teach them about it. But as you can see, they have their own opinions on it.
True. I believe that the conversations are one step in the correct way to like break the stigma, but at the same time, it is so deep-rooted. It's not just one generation. I grew up with 5 older sisters. I'm the youngest, and not one time have I ever known or seen any signs of my sisters who I lived in the same house with had, as I said, the first experience that was my mother when I was 24. All my sisters grown and all that was, oh, beg you, please, I can't go and get it myself. And I was just like, sure.
Yeah, well, listen, that's interesting because...
thinking it, but yes.
No, but that's an excellent point, because listen, when I first had my period, the first piece of advice I got was, your period must be so well kept as a secret that nobody should ever be able to tell that you have a period.
And that's where the problem is.
That is a problem. And that's the reason why I say, the secret is out, the jig is up, we have periods. But if you think about what that causes is, you have women who suffer in silence. She is in so much pain, but she cannot get the help she needs because she does not think that it is appropriate to have the conversation with her doctor. Worse if she has a male doctor. So you can't even tell your male doctor about a period that you're having. Never mind that he's a gynecologist and he's trained to help you and he's going to help you and he doesn't have an issue, but because of how we are taught, saying this to a man is absolutely inappropriate. I mean, a lot of that is changing now, and I'm happy to say that I'm a part of the change, but it is still very much ingrained because our culture says when a woman or a girl has their period, they need to keep it to themselves. And that is something that we really are actively trying to fight back on.
True. So what do you think are some measures that we can use to like combat this? Because it's not just Jamaican culture, it's like worldly.
Right.
Because I was telling you about a documentary that I saw a couple of years ago, where basically back in the days, like Byzantine era, people used to like have the women of the village stay out in like a, what did you call it?
In a period hut.
Yeah, and you were saying as recently as 2024, 2025.
Yes, man. That's still happening.
Going on.
That's still happening. There are countries in the world right now that has period huts. That what the period hut signifies is that whenever you have your period, you should stay away from the rest of the family or stay away from spaces where you can cause them to become unclean. Now you find that a lot of these practices are based on religion, and truth is, in Jamaica we consider ourselves Christians, and in the Bible describes the period as being unclean. There are Jamaican Christians who believe that as well, and they take it to an extreme where they actually have a space in the house where when the person is on their period, they need to put themselves into that space and stay out of the kitchen. They can't cook anything for the family. They need to ensure that they don't touch anything, because whatever they touch also becomes unclean. And so while they're on their menstruation, they are advised to isolate themselves so that they don't muck up the rest of the world with their periodness. If it at all.
I'm still surprised by that statement, because when you and your other friend were saying, oh, there's still men in this day that don't allow a woman to prepare. My generation, those women don't really cook that much, so I never knew that. At the same time, I'm just like, I'm still surprised by it, because I'm just like, this is kind of extreme.
No, it is extreme, but that is the reason why we have the conversation, because the truth is, there are still a lot of beliefs that because of the silence continue to flourish. But when we have the discussions, when we question certain things, people start to say, yes, it's true, that don't make sense for true. And that's the reason why I want to continue the conversation so that we can continue to do that. But on the flip side of that is that there is some merit to women getting the opportunity to isolate themselves when they have period, if it's not coming from a place of scorn and shame. And what I mean is, how good would it be if when we're on our period, we don't have to go to work? I'm a very big fan of the period leave. I think period leave needs to happen in Jamaica. Period leave is happening in Italy. Parts of India has period leave. Parts of New Zealand has period leave. There are countries around the world that have enacted period leave into the law. So for 2 days every month, if they need it, an employee can register, can sign up for period leave and take the 2 days to recuperate. Now, some of us have such horrible periods that we just call in sick anyway. So whether Jamaicans like it or not, people already taking period leave because they're just calling sick the day they say, listen, I cannot stand up today, I'm not coming to work, I'm just calling in sick. And they just take it as a regular sick day. But I do believe that period leave should be a thing that allows us. So for the men who are in relationship with women, especially if they have children, for those 2 days, then take charge of the children and they're responsible for the children while mom gets an opportunity to recuperate, while she gets a chance to rest. Sometimes that's the best thing you can give her, silence and food. Take away yourself and let her get a chance to catch herself, because having this body takes work.
No, I get that. I think it's basically to just inform men to be more considerate, because
Correct.
By proxy, men already do give women their space and their period just because
They think they're miserable.
Yeah. It's like, yo, you tripping, you on your period? I get 4 days to myself.
Okay.
But you're coming at it with a point of empathy where it's
Yes.
like, okay, I'm going to be the one responsible for the kids if you guys have it.
Yes.
Or that, and yeah.
Or just give her a space where she can just get a chance to focus on just relaxing and resting and dealing with the changes that our bodies are going through, because we talk about period in a sense, and we talk about the blood and the products and all of that, but there's a whole heap of emotional things that happens as well. A lot of women during their period, they don't feel so good about themselves. If you ever hear the conversation them having them head when they think about themselves during their period, nothing fits. You put on a dress, all of a sudden the dress lopsided. And listen, I live in this body, I'm gonna tell you some of the things that happened to me. Sometimes one breast just get bigger than the other breast. No warning, nothing. The bra fit fine yesterday, and today, one boob is falling out of the bra because it's bigger than the other one. This morning, I put on a pants fit perfectly. By 1 o'clock, the pants too tight. Tight to the point where I have to pull the button or I will die because it cut off my blood flow. So our bodies are doing some crazy things, and that is influenced by the fact that our hormones are fluctuating. So just because you hear she's miserable, and you walk about and say, Lord, she's miserable, but I say all the time, no one is good company when they're in pain. So it's not miserable, she's in pain. And sometimes your body just start hurt you. Like you cannot pinpoint where the pain is coming from. Your entire body is just uncomfortable. And that's the reason why I say, let us talk about it. Let us tell our stories. Let us talk our business, because I think that I don't think men are just disgusting. We are somehow disgusting for true, but I'm not all out, no? But I think if they understood that we are going through so many challenges, I think they'll be more effective in helping us and supporting us when we need.
No, I agree with that point 100%, because the whole narrative that, hey, you keep this hush-hush.
Yes.
Women on a whole, you guys kept it so well. Like,
yes.
me as a guy.
Fact.
Because as I said, guys, we're not firing at the same cylinder as women. Like, we might have our advantages physically, but mentally we're not thinking like that. So when you said, hey, keep it hush-hush, I really had no idea that there was pain or any of those things. Even you saying a while ago, oh, you wake up in the morning and your pants fit you fine, but by midday you have to. I knew that you guys got bloated, but I never knew that it could happen as drastically in a day or in hours.
A few hours. Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like your clothes just don't fit you anymore and you didn't do anything. You just wake up with a different body.
Ignorance of me as a guy, because like a whole relationship long ago, when we used to exercise together, she'd always look at me like very disdain.
Yes.
Because she's like, oh, you just lose weight effortless. And I'm like thinking, work harder. Like you're.
Well, I am so happy you brought that up. Let me tell you about estrogen. Now listen, you and her on the same diet?
Yeah.
You say, all right, you're gonna stop eating rice. You say, we're gonna stop eating rice. You stop eat rice. She stop eat rice. You lose 10 pounds. She don't move. You don't have estrogen in your body. She does.
I would say.
Because I'm telling you, and that is, and you're not, and I'm happy you said that because that is not something that is unique to you. There are a lot of people who feel that they will say, well, why didn't you try harder? She's been trying. She probably tried. She give it everything. She give it 110%. But her body is in a different space. A lot of diets, for example, that works great for men, wreaks havoc for us. Right? So, for example, the keto diet. Let me explain to you. Let's talk about the keto diet for a second. Keto diet is a diet that it's very low carb. You can eat a lot of animal food, a lot of meats, cheeses, and all of that. I have a male friend where him lift weights. Me see him sit down, right, and have about 4 different meat in one plate and him gouge it down. If I play that game, I'm gonna have a thing named inflammation. My back are gonna hurt me. My periods are going to say, oh, you think you wanna do that? Watch me and you. And my womb is gonna say, all right, bad girl, okay. And my periods are going to be heavier, more clotty. I'm going to have to lie down on the ground and keep still and bawl for holy murder. And all you did was enjoy your meat, your plate full of meat, and tomorrow you eat another plate full of meat and your muscles get bigger. Meanwhile, my uterus is fighting against me.
I know I shouldn't be laughing because thinking of me and my friends when we used to exercise, they still exercise consistently. I've dropped out. But we used to be like protein.
Yes.
And for a woman, protein is, it seems like...
No, it's not just protein, the type of protein. Yeah. So we can't just get up and eat a plate full of meat. Just eat that alone. That is going to have consequences because that's going to affect our estrogen levels. That's going to affect our progesterone levels. That affects a whole heap of other things in our bodies. And so you are building muscle. I am fighting endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome and all the other things.
What was that last disease? I know about endo because I have...
Polycystic ovarian syndrome. All right, so polycystic ovarian syndrome is when cysts grow on the ovaries and they can cause different symptoms. No, it's not the same. Endometriosis is when the lining of the uterine, the endometrium, grows outside of the womb, and that can cause different symptoms. It's very inflammatory, lots of pain. Sometimes it affects the period flow. It's very heavy, very painful. And the polycystic ovarian syndrome, it is where cysts grow on your ovaries, and sometimes they can get very, very big. Sometimes they can rupture, and that also can be very, very painful. That can also affect your fertility, right? So listen, we live in the same environment, but the environment affects us differently, is the point that I'm trying to make.
I mean, like, I'm always learning something new every time.
Yes.
Conversation. Because the recent thing that I was like talking to you about is because I'm learning so much more, it's become a little more normalized to me. But still, there's like important female figures in my life that are just like, you understand it's too much. I'm a little weirded out by whatever you are becoming.
Yeah, well, I think
still to this day, like I don't think I've had like a real discussion with any of my sisters
about periods.
Yeah.
Well, you probably should do that. You should do that and just see how they feel about it. But you also have to understand, you know, that the secret keeping is so ingrained in us that we kind of feel weird when we see a man so comfortable in this space, because this space has always been exclusively female. So now you're coming in, you're expressing an interest. There are lots of other men who have gone even further to make sure that them figure out them girlfriend's cycle. They know when she's ovulating, them know when her period's about to start, them even can see based on her symptom, what she needs for her symptoms, them know what to buy, they know all of these kind of things. And I am happy for it. I want to see more of it. But you also have to understand that for the woman who her period is a source of shame, having her man in that space is a little jarring. It's gonna take some use to to get him in that space or to be comfortable with him being in that space, because this is a source of shame for her. She don't feel sexy on her period. She don't feel like you seeing her in that space of, because for some of them they're vulnerable. She's vulnerable. She don't feel her prettiest. She don't feel desirable. And now she don't want you to experience that side of her, because she wants, when you look at her, you think, ooh la la, bow chicka wow wow. But that's going to take some getting used to.
So, in terms of like trying to bridge the divide, so my current or like previous relationships, every time I've tried to be like, oh, I'm an ally or I want to know more, it's always been met with, and I want to know what is a good approach that's not weird, that is like too pushy, like, oh, let me wash your underwear, because you know Jamaican men are against.
All right, well, that might be a little far. As a first move, make me wash your underwear. They might not.
I just use the next.
They might question other things if you do that. Yeah. So no, don't start there. But what you can do is, when you notice that she's going through something, you can just watch how she treats it and see how you can help. So, for example, the thing that I see guys do online, where they have the little period basket and they know that she like our heating pad, and they get our heating pad and they know good. So you're off to a good start. So, and then what you can do though is when she's not having her period, have a conversation with her. Just ask her. Say, how can I help you when you're having your period? Leave it open-handed. Make she choose. Yeah, let her choose. So, because she's gonna tell you something that she's comfortable with. So just ask her, how can I help you when you're having a period? What can I do to make it easier for you? And let her guide you there, and then you can take it from there.
Okay, definitely telling my friend context. One of my sisterins, she got married 2 years ago.
Right.
And me and her husband became like bench and batty.
Oh, no, you did not become bench and batty, the woman husband.
When she's on her period,
yes,
she's losing her shit. And
right.
Never experienced that during the dating phase because she kept it on the wrap. But as a wife,
but she's comfortable now.
As a wife, right, he's disgusted with how
he's disgusted.
Not by he's disgusted of the treatment.
Okay.
Before she used to pretend like she never had periods, but now she doesn't hide it back.
Right.
She's like a complete different person, and I'm like, not really, because I would always give him devil's advocate and be like, this has always been the friend.
Right.
You are just seeing it for the first time, and she's hid it from you, which I feel sorry for you, but me as a guy, this is all I can tell you.
Right.
And my advice has not really helped him, because I'm just like, trying to at least know when her cycle is. To this day, he's still like, you're right. I think this might be related to her period coming.
No, but I think that's good advice though, but it has to be more than that. If she is becoming a monster while she's on her period, that deserves a conversation, because believe it or not, we don't lose our minds when we're on our period. That might be something else going on, and she's using her period to blame, to say, well, it's because of her period she's acting like this. But I would start off with a conversation. I always prefer to start off with a conversation, especially in relationship, where he can just say to her on the day when she's not on her period, on a regular day, when she's feeling good and he's feeling good, just have discussion and say, listen, when you're on your period, I notice that, you act a certain way, or you are a certain way. What can I do to help this get better?
So that seems like, I would tell him that, but me hearing that sounds like you're setting yourself up for failure, because that statement of when you're on your period, it seems like anything referring to a woman's mood or personality change when they're on their period, there's been a narrative to fight against it.
Is this something as a fact, or is that an assumption you're making?
No, fact. I've seen this until recently, where female friends now saying, oh no, I'm different when I'm on my period.
Oh no, I'm not talking about female friends generally. We were talking about a specific case. She's married to this guy.
Yeah.
This is her husband. If they cannot have a conversation where he can say to her, listen, this is an observation that I've made, so how can we make sure that we do something different?
No, my friend, love her, but she did him dirty because I've seen her on her periods before. We've been friends for over a decade.
Right.
He's never truly experienced a period until being married.
Oh,
That is where I...
well, this is where they might need to call a professional then.
A professional.
Yeah, man, they.
Pointed that out.
Yeah, they.
It's like, that's kind of like the whole narrative of like keeping things under wrap. But how long can you keep this under wrap? Because they were
Keep what under wrap? The period?
Yeah.
I already said to you that one of the conversations that little girls get, and I'm saying little girls because you have girls as young as 8 that are having their periods for the first time. So you have girls as little as 8, they are being told from day one, your period is a secret. You are not supposed to share it with anybody, not even your father. Your period is something that you are supposed to guard. To the point where when we go to schools, and you see it, when we go to schools and we're distributing products, the girls don't want to be seen with the menstrual product. They come to me one away and me have to drop it in them bag for them quietly, so nobody don't see it. So we still are living in a space where period is shrouded in shame. So her hiding it is not such a, it's become an adult after hiding it so long, she can still hide it. I can't speak specifically to what's going on with your friend but just with a snapshot based on what you tell me, it sounds like there's more going on. But we're not going to try to psychologize your friend relationship too much. But I'll give you one last question and then we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Okay, last question. Actually, I wasn't prepared for that.
All right, well, don't stress out your brain. I just love the fact that you're interested and you want to learn more. And I think this is a space that I would love to see more men get into because there is a lot to learn when
I think what really increased the wanting to know more is the older I get, the more it's not even your campaign where it's like period is everywhere or let's normalize it.
Right.
Is when I was 24 and had that experience, I felt really out of place in the pharmacy. And then every girlfriend of me being past 25, those relationships are no longer like so shallow where it's like, oh, you're on your period?
See you later.
That's really it. And that's still the case for a majority of people. So.
Right. Okay, well, thank you so much, Lance, for joining us on this conversation. And thank you for tuning in. This is Everyday Period.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks.
Everyday Period is brought to you by Herflow Foundation. The Herflow Foundation is dedicated to improving menstrual health and addressing key social issues affecting women and girls in Jamaica. Through advocacy, education, and direct support, Herflow works to break the stigma surrounding menstruation and empower women to live healthier, more fulfilling lives. Herflow's flagship project is to end the period poverty in Jamaica. Since inception, Herflow has donated over 9 million menstrual products to Jamaicans in need. To learn more about Herflow, please visit embraceherflow.com. Okay, and now it's time for my favorite segment, Ask the Period Lady. And since he's already here, our question is gonna come from Lance.
Okay, so as a man, I date women. So what is something that as a partner I can do that will help my female during her period?
Oh, well, this is easy. I love this question. One of the first things you can do is talk to her. We are not all the same. We don't all want the same things. Some women want to be cuddled and squeezed and told that they're precious and keep them be treated nice. Some women want you to leave them alone. Some women want spicy food. Some people don't want no food at all. Some women want to just watch all the movies. Some women want to sleep. The point is, ask her what she wants and give it to her exactly as she asks for it. Don't get creative. Don't go watch a YouTube channel. Ask. If you ask her and she tell you, do that. It might sound strange. You might not understand it, but none of that is required. If she says she wants Milo with French fries thrown on the top and the French fries float in the Milo cup and you're wondering how she eat this, put the fries in the Milo, give it to her and be quiet. That is what she asks you for. Do that, right? At the end of the day, the more support you can give to her while she's on her period, the better it is. And trust me, when she's off her period, you'll enjoy that too, don't it? Yes, man. Thank you so much for your question, Lance. Why are you looking at this?
No, because the thing is, like, when you were explaining, oh, give her what she wants, I was like, I'm for it. But then when you were giving the cravings, like, if I was just like, this, I'm going to ask questions though. Like,
No,
like
do not ask any questions.
this craving sounds like you're pregnant or meant. Like, that
You see,
sounds more extreme.
that is how you get yourself in trouble. Don't ask any questions, give what you want, leave it alone.
Okay.
Thank you, Lance.
Whoa, learn something new every day.
Hey, Everyday Period fam. If you're loving these real, unfiltered conversations about reproductive health, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Join the movement by liking, sharing, or dropping your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Let's keep breaking the stigma and spreading the knowledge. Periods don't stop, and neither do we. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Herflow Foundation. Oh my goodness, that is our show. Thank you so much for joining us. And before I go, of course, I have to remind you that reproductive health is not just period or pregnancy. It is how we take care of ourselves every single day, mentally, physically, even socially. It is important that we recognize that from puberty to menopause, reproductive health is a very big part of our overall well-being. So take care of yourself and each other. Thanks to my guest, Lance Brown, for joining us for this conversation. And thanks to you for joining us and watching. I hope that you found something useful. Until next time, I am Shelly-Ann, the period lady. I'll see you. Take care. Walk good. If you want to get in touch after the show, send your questions or comments to embraceherflow@gmail.com. Until next time, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Period TV. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Herflow Foundation. Our website is embraceherflow.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. Thanks to our production team, April and Digital Pro, for the great support, and thank you for tuning in. See you next time. Take care. Walk good.